Hello. Last class we look at the exception to the law of supply, and it was described that law of supply the shape of the demand curve that contradicts the law of demand. That was what we described exception now curve to be last class. Today we'll be looking at price determination in a free market economy. Price determination in a free market economy, and under that we are going to be looking at how price is determined in a free market, the concept of equilibrium point, equilibrium price, and equilibrium quantity, and some derivation of equilibrium price and quantity from demand and supply. Now, what is free market all about? In a free market, we talk about a type of market in which price of goods and services are regulated by the forces of the demand and supply. That is the market forces. This means that the price of commodity in a free market economy are fixed through the interaction of demand and supply. That means to talk about a free market economy, we are talking about that economy where it is the interaction of demand and supply, the interplay of forces of demand and supply, is expressed there that determine the price. Then I quickly also want to talk about determination of price in the free market economy. I want to explain further that it is possible to compare demand with supply by drawing a schedule showing the quantity of goods demanded and supply. An example of a combined demand and supply schedule is shown below. Now, last class I explained to you what a supply schedule is. It is a table that shows the relationship that exists between price and quantity supply at a particular time in the market. Now, the table we have here shows the quantity demanded and supply schedule in the market at different prices. Where we have 7 naira demand as the price of the product, the first price, we have the quantity demanded to be 100 and quantity supply to be 900. 6 naira 200 for the quantity demanded, 700 for quantity supply. Then like that on and on. Then under that, before I will quickly leave, I want to also let you know that from the table, the schedule given, we can produce our equilibrium price and equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity demanded, and equilibrium quantity supply in a chart. That is what we have exactly on the chart. Display. The schedule above can be graphically represented by the curve below. And in the curve, we have the price axis, we have the quantity demanded axis. Even right in that place, our equilibrium quantity demanded can be determined. What is equilibrium all about? Equilibrium is explained as situation where the supply and quantity demanded curve cross or intersect or equate one another. In that situation, supply and demand in the market are equal at the prevailing price. Now, what is equilibrium price? Equilibrium price is the quantity supply equating the quantity demanded. Price determined by intersection of demand and supply. In that case, that is to tell us that our quantity demanded QD is equals to quantity supply. Now, right on the diagram, we have a shape that denotes excess supply. We have the excess supply, we have the excess demand. What is excess supply? An excess supply is when we have price that is above the equilibrium, quantity supply will exceed the quantity demanded. The market will experience excess supply. Then for the excess demand, that one is below the equilibrium point. In the case of the excess demand, when the price is below the equilibrium demand, we exceed supply. There will be excess demand. Also, price tends to rise at the equilibrium price, quantity demanded is equal to quantity supply. Like we have on this table, any price above 4 naira, that is excess supply. Any price below the equilibrium point, the equilibrium, like in this table we have here now, the equilibrium price is 4 naira because it is at that point where we have, if you trace it down to the center, that is where we have the equilibrium point. If you trace it down to the price axis, that point at the center, trace it down to the price axis, we have 4 naira, which is our equilibrium price. If you trace it down from the center to the quantity demanded and quantity supply axis down, that is where we have our quantity demanded and quantity supply. And for that one, we'll be having 500. If you bring it down, that will give us between 500 600. That is what will be our equilibrium quantity demanded and supply. Now, what exactly are we to really get here? You should be able to locate what your excess supply is, what your excess demand is, what your equilibrium price is. Like I've said, your equilibrium point is your point E on that diagram. Your equilibrium price is 4 naira there. Then your equilibrium quantity demanded and supply, traced down to the quantity axis, you have we have 600 around that place for the equilibrium quantity demanded and supply. Then don't forget, we have the origin at 0. Then we also have the demand axis. We have the supply axis. Don't forget your excess supply. Excess supply is any point above the equilibrium point. Excess demand is any point below the equilibrium point. Now, I want to believe you have greatly learned a lot from all that we've been saying. See you next time.